Howdy, y'all. So, oh my god, my lights just turned off. Hold on. Howdy, y'all. I want to talk to y'all about something very, very near and dear and important to me today, and that is fitness. Fitness dick in your back. A lot of us are sitting around all day, and why aren't you getting fit? It's a rhetorical question. I'm not being an asshole, alright? Listen. But I get it. If you didn't do high school sports, or if it's been a while since you did high school sports, or you're in high school and you haven't started doing high school sports, a lot of my life revolved around high school sports. I get it. It's intimidating as hell. Not to brag, because I do all of that on my Twitter, twitter.com/Hasmagoria. Please follow me. But I would say I'm above average in fitness. A lot of my friends, if they have fitness questions, I'm a person a lot of people come to and trust for fitness advice. Mostly because I think people look at me and they go, oh, he's fit, but he's not gonna tell me to drink 12 raw eggs in the morning. So take that as you will. One of the most common questions that people ask me is they're just like, how do I start working out? Where do I begin? How do I build up the ability to work out? And so I just kind of want to do this video as an introduction to working out. It's not necessarily, I'm not going to give specific routines, I'm not going to give a lot of dieting advice, and most of the things that I say are mostly subjective. If I say anything that is objective, I will say, by the way, I am not an expert. I am somebody who works out recreationally and have done a bit of research. Do your own research and use the things that I say as a basis of where to start looking. Just oh, I didn't think of that. This is something that I should be looking out for. So, to get started, I just want to ask a simple question. What are your goals? Because the thing about exercise is that exercise is a all-encompassing term that basically can achieve tons of fucking goals. If you say, I want to lose weight, I will give you different advice than somebody who says, I want to be defined or I want to put on muscle mass. Because putting on muscle mass is a different process than getting that shredded, martial artist, gymnast look. Those are two separate processes. One is bulking, which involves putting on a lot of muscle by having an excess in calories, and the other is cutting, which, while you may gain strength, when you're cutting, you're going to be at a calorie deficit, and you are not going to put on a lot of mass. And depending on what you're going for, those are going to be two completely different processes. I know a lot of people fall into the weight class of I want to lose weight. Losing weight is not a simple process. At the basis of it, it is as easy as burn more calories than you use. Even if you have some sort of thyroid problem that prevents you from burning fat, that makes it harder, if you eat less than you burn, you will lose weight. Now, there are better ways to do it that you should look up, maybe talk to a dietitian if that is a thing that is available to you, but that's basically the most simple mechanic of it. And something that I have found, when I was living on campus, because I got kicked out of school for the coronavirus, and when I was living on campus, I would walk about 15,000 steps a day according to my Fitbit, and also according to my Fitbit, I could burn upwards of 4,000 calories a day. Again, this thing is not gospel, it's not gospel, but it is a fairly reliable baseline, I would say. Living at home, I barely reach 5,000 steps a day, and I struggle to hit 2,500 calories. 10,000 steps is about 5 miles of walk. It sounds like a lot, but an average person can walk 1 mile in 20 minutes. You spend 20 minutes once every 2 hours. You have to do that 5 times a day. That's not that much. to burn 1,500 calories. Because the thing about metabolism that most people don't understand, this is one of those science things that I recommend you look up on your own, but this is the information that I have read. The thing about metabolism is that most of your calorie burn is from ambiently existing. You burn more calories by just breathing and being than you do in the gym, you know? It's a larger portion of your time, so in order to maximize that portion of time, you need to maximize your body's awokeness, your alertness, your activeness. To get your metabolism moving, you have to be moving. And just having an active body, your body will actively burn more calories to sustain that constant movement. It's just physics. Move more, and you will burn more calories. The other thing I will say is that when people talk about losing weight, a big focus that a lot of people go to is cardio. They say, if I run a lot, if I bike a lot, if I do burpees, I will burn more calories. And while cardio is typically more efficient for calorie burn, there is merit to muscle mass gaining for the purpose of weight loss. Because basically, fat does not require calories to maintain. Muscle, however, does. Muscle just means there is more of you. And if you have more muscle, you will need more calories in order to exist. And that makes creating a calorie deficit easier. So while you necessarily don't have to go to the gym and start doing bench press and all of that, just doing something as simple as push-ups, you will, if you're starting from absolutely nothing, if you have no muscle mass, if you've been sitting on your ass for the last 5 years, just doing a few push-ups every single day, you will put on an amount of muscle mass, and that amount will help you burn fat more effectively. Something that I want to talk about the actual purpose of exercising is that a lot of people have questions about form. And I came up with a very catchy phrase that's a little bit confusing, but I like the sound of it, so I'm going to say it. There is no right way to do an exercise, but there are several wrong ways to do an exercise. Because the thing about exercise is that there is no borderline between what counts as exercise and what isn't. If you are moving a mass over a distance, you are doing work. And when you are doing work, you are working your body. You are therefore exercising. Anything that moves your body is technically exercise. The only time you can say you are doing that exercise wrong is when you are doing a movement that will actively harm you. So, like, one of the most common things that I'll encounter is with push-ups. Push-ups are a holy grail of exercise. I love doing push-ups. They're great for you. They feel great. Do push-ups. But something some people will say is you'll be doing push-ups and your arms are in about like a 45-degree angle from your body, and somebody will come up to you and say, you're doing push-ups wrong. Your elbows should be locked into your side and you should be going straight up and down. You are not wrong that I can do push-ups like that. However, the way I am doing push-ups is also not wrong. I am doing push-ups in a way that is working a different set of muscles. I believe the further out your elbows flare, to a certain degree, don't go like full monkey mode. That's not good for you. That's terrible for your elbows. The further out they go, the more your shoulders are going to get worked, while the closer in they go, the more your triceps are going to be worked. At the end of the day, you are doing a motion that does not hurt you. You are doing an exercise correctly. And by that same token, you cannot look at somebody that is fit and lifting a lot of weight and say, that's how I should do it. For example, deadlifts. If you are doing a traditional standard deadlift, the standard form is that you keep your chest out, back straight, you come straight up. If you go to a gym, you might see guys pulling weights of up to 400 pounds with their backs just arched over. It's like they're trying to touch their toes, and that's not good for your lower back. It will fuck it up. You will slip a disc. You will hurt by your 30s. But these dudes can be massive. They can look great. They'll be fit. They'll talk to them, and they don't walk with the limp. And you're like, oh, that's great. No, it isn't. The majority of issues with form will only become an issue later on in life. You will feel soreness now, you will recover, and then in 5 to 10 years, you will regret it. So, just because somebody looks fit does not mean you should take what they do at face value. You need to address what their priorities are, because some people are willing. They are knowingly and willingly destroying their bodies like that because they want the muscle mass now, and that allows them to lift bigger, and so they will work more muscle, and they don't care about their backs later. You need to address things like that. You need to know, what is their work ethic? Do other people work like this? Never take advice from just one person. That's what this culminates into. Do not just ask one person. You need at least 3 sources, alright? This is a fucking high school paper. You need at least 3 sources that all agree with each other and ideally are not related under some sort of common brand. Especially if we're talking about things like form, you need multiple people to agree with that before you can say, okay, this is the right way to do it. Because a lot of people just fake it until they make it. I think the biggest aspect of exercise that a lot of people that try to give fitness advice overlook is that every single person is built differently. We all have very common standards. Most of us have 2 arms and 2 legs. There's a very common ratio with people where they say your wingspan is the same as your height. If you took an average of all people who are 5'8", you will find that the average wingspan of them is 5'8". However, some people have longer arms. Some people's arms have a wingspan of 5'10", some of them have a wingspan of 5'6". This is a phenomenon known as your ape index. This is an actual thing that some people measure, and your ape index can actually affect how effective you are at certain sports. Lifters typically want a smaller ape index so that they have to extend less distance to reach full extension, while people like basketball players or pretty much most other sports prefer a longer ape index. And this translates into weightlifting. One of the best examples I can think of this is the shoulder press. If you have a longer neck and I believe shorter trap muscles, behind the head shoulder presses, you just shouldn't do them if your neck is a certain length, because basically once you get to the point where the muscles you're trying to work are effectively engaged, your elbows are too low, and now you are at a dangerous point for your elbows where there is undue stress being put onto them. It's a completely valid maneuver, completely safe for another person. But for you, it might not be what you need to do. So if you're doing a movement and you say, I don't like this feels wrong, I'm doing it right, my body feels, it is okay to say, I don't want to do this. Some of you have scoliosis. Scoliosis is a very common issue. And you can do the form completely right. And you will fuck up your back just because your back was not right to begin with. If you are doing a movement that does not feel good, just say, fuck it, this isn't a move for me. That is okay, because there are a million ways to fuck a horse. You can, different pony every night. There are 24 different ways that I could name right now that I could work just this group right here. I'm not going to, because I don't actually know 24 off the top of my head, and that would be a very long list for me to gather, but you get my point.
Hello there.
On the topic of dieting, I believe that is the point where I know the least. I'm the least informed on diet because I was always a person that had a fast metabolism, so I just ate whatever I wanted. As long as I got my nutrients, I could put whatever else I wanted to on top of that. That's changed with age a little bit. I do need to be mindful, but it's not something I'm super well versed in. Something that I can say about diet, though, is that the fitness industry fucking sucks. Okay. This will all make sense in a second. In the fitness industry, there are pretty much 3 ways you can make money. You sell gym equipment, you sell shit like the shake weight, or you sell supplements. And here's how this boils down. The people that sell gym equipment are the same people that have been selling gym equipment for the last 20, 30 years. And most of their money comes from selling to large gyms and not to the consumer. They're not making as much money on that. The second group is just a bunch of upstarts, you know, the people like the shake weight that just have a good idea that looks good on camera, or they've got a brand of clothing that looks nice. That group is very volatile, very hard to get into. The third group is the supplements. Supplements are very, very, very unregulated. If you go into a GNC, 80% of that store goes not tested, approved, looked at, even sniffed by the FDA. Nobody knows what the fuck is in most of that shit. I watched a great video on this by Shredded Sports Science, a channel I very much recommend. Things like Bang Energy that has super creatine formula. It is a proprietary formula, which means they don't have to tell you how much of what's fucking in there. There's creatine in there, we know that. How much? I don't fucking know. Drink it, you fucking slut. Like, for the most part, supplements are kind of a scam. And by kind of a scam, I'm saying kind of because I've done a little bit of research and I personally think they're complete and utter bullshit, and there's only a handful of things you should ever even consider. But I'm also not an authority, nor a chemist, nor a dietitian, and so I won't say on 100% authority that they're absolutely the devil. But for the most part, the only supplements you will ever really need is protein powder if you're trying to put on muscle, perhaps a multivitamin if your diet lacks a little bit of roundness, and if you're really going fucking hard at it, creatine. And personally, I don't do creatine because it makes me piss like a fucking fire truck, and I go through so much water. I just do not like creatine. But even these, if you have the money or you have the gut for it, you don't even need these. All your other supplements you can get from just food. By eating right, you will save money over these supplements. These supplements are just microplastics, they're fucking estrogen, they're gonna make you grow a second penis or a clitoris, I don't fucking know. There's a lot of nothing in there, and there's a lot of nothing that you don't need. If you have too much of a vitamin, you're just gonna piss it out. There's no reason to double up, triple up, do whatever the fuck these things are trying to put into your body. You don't need it. Another personal thing that I say avoid is pre-workout, because all pre-workout is caffeine. Like, it's got some B vitamins, which is the energy vitamin, and it's got a fuck ton of caffeine. And yes, you will lift more while you are on it, but by also just getting a proper night of sleep, and, I don't know, maybe drinking coffee, you're going to kind of have the same effects. And I know a lot of people who are dependent on pre-workout and can't work out without it, and that is not where you want to be, in my opinion. I have 2 last things that I want to say about working out. The first thing is the idea of consistency and not repetition. The beginner trap that I see so many people fall into is that they go, I'm gonna run 3 miles every day for this week, and I'm gonna take 2 days of break, and I'm gonna run 3 miles every day for the next week. That's fucking terrible for you. Don't do it. First of all, running in general, if you do it too much, it is terrible for your body. Our bodies are not meant to run consistently. You will fuck up your back, you'll fuck up your knees, you're just gonna hurt. Second of all, when you work the same way every single day, you eventually hit a plateau where your body does not push itself further. You get acclimated. Your body says, I am meant to run 3 miles. I will run 3 miles in this allotted time that's just a little bit better than what I started at. And eventually you will hit a wall and you will be discouraged. Your body will be sore, because that's the other thing. You need to give your body rest periods. If you work the same thing over and over and over again, your body is not going to have time to rebuild, and so you're not actually going to make any progress. And then you're going to hit like day 4, and you're not going to want to fucking do it anymore, and then you're going to stop working out altogether. You want to avoid burnout. So there's a few reasons why we mix things up like this. Avoiding mental burnout and avoiding overworking your muscles. If you don't want to do any sort of strength training, you're just all cardio, mix it up. Run 3 miles one day, run 1 mile another day, do circuit training another, do some bike work, then take a few days off. Do not keep trying to work the same muscle group in the same way at the same intensity over and over again, because you need those sprinting muscles to be worked. You need those short distance 1 mile muscles to be better in order to increase your 3 mile time. That's why runners vary the way that they run. They build different things, their body can't get used to anything, and so it's always going to be improving. And if you mix things up and you prevent burnout, the chances of you giving up on exercising are much, much lower. And that's a pretty convenient transition to my last point, and that's, the first rule of exercise is the same as the first rule of gun safety. Remember to have fun. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your goal is or how you're doing the work, as long as you're not hurting yourself, or what supplements you're taking, as long as you're not poisoning yourself. If you have a varied regimen and you go to the gym even like 3 or 4 days out of the week, you will see improvement compared to being somebody that does not move at all. The hardest part about going to the gym and working out is getting to the gym. That is the hardest part of your exercise. Once you are in that door, you're going to be there for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. You're going to fucking rock it out. You're going to get out. You're going to flex in the mirror, and you're going to take a selfie, and you're going to post it, and you're going to feel great. Getting into your car to get there is going to be hell on earth. And that's just the nature of being human. We don't like doing things. If you can get over that mental gap by some means, some people like to have other people with them, some people have incentives, they have goals, whatever it takes, find something that says, this is why I am going to work out today. This is my driving force, and do not lose it. You hold on to that like it's fucking precious. Like, it is your last remaining testicle, and you've got a fucking woman to impregnate. You do not give that shit up. Your success with exercise boils down to motivation. So, I hope some of you found this video helpful. Really, all I gotta say is this is just a video I wanted to make because I'm passionate about it, and I never know how to end videos, so I'm just gonna kind of monologue as I slowly go up to the camera and turn it off, and have a good night.